Welcome to Dollars and Cents. Our podcast is designed to provide listeners with financial advice in a language you can understand. Created and hosted by Marc Freedman, President and CEO at Freedman Financial, he discusses timely topics that help individuals and families make smart financial decisions. Count on lots of energy, candid discussion, and a few laughs. And now, here's your host of Dollars and Cents, Marc Freedman of Freedman Financial.
Welcome back to another edition of Dollars and Cents with Freedman Financial. My name is Marc Freedman.
And I'm Marion Gilman.
And we're here to provide you with some financial advice in a language you can understand. Hope you're all doing well. It is the middle of May. The May flowers have come to roost, yet the weather today is not so terrific, is it?
It really isn't today. You know, it's kind of drizzly. But once again, like you say, you know, May showers, April showers bring May flowers, isn't it? Right.
That's how that works.
And our flower boxes downstairs do look beautiful.
They really are. They're looking terrific. You know, we have a flower company that comes. One of our splurges here in the office is we hire a plant company so that we don't have to make Jody water all the plants. And Jody, our producer, is on the other side of the screen there, is making some faces and smirks at me. But you know, we hire a plant company, and they come in, they keep the plants green, they keep the flowers watered.
And they actually replace the plants as well. So the plant boxes downstairs, the planters, are actually refreshed periodically, which is really nice as well.
And sometimes you need to refresh those things, right?
Absolutely.
But unlike a portfolio your portfolio doesn't need to be refreshed all the time. In fact, we oftentimes build a portfolio that's built to last.
That's what we always do.
At least we do our best to. Can't guarantee anything.
Absolutely right. And you know, we use mutual funds and exchange traded funds, so we select good investments that will guide you towards your helping you achieve your financial goals over time. It is not a question of, we have to find the one investment that, you know, knocks out everything else over the course of the year, and you're going to do great over the next 6 months. But then you have to know when to get out and get back in and get into something else. That's just not our style.
No, that strategy of being transactional, being speculative, is something that, in the world of financial planning, especially if you're looking to build a lifelong portfolio, a lifelong strategy, so that you can achieve what you want to do today as well as in the future, speculation is not the way to go, is it?
Absolutely not, because if you do try to time the market, then you're jumping in and jumping out of the market. So remember, you have to be right about when you get out, and you also need to be right about when you get back in. And that is an incredibly difficult, and I would say almost impossible
I would
task.
agree, but it becomes one of the first questions a lot of people ask when they're first visiting with a financial advisor. Let's say you've been doing this on your own, or you've never tried working with a financial advisor in the past. One of the questions that we're often asked is, at what point will you be taking my money out of the market if things start to look a little shaky? And how do we respond to that, Marion?
Well, we always say never.
Generally do, because
right.
It's the truth.
And we don't take your money out of the market if things look shaky, because we don't know what that means realistically. And things might look shaky for a month and then turn around and look fabulous. And remember, if you're out of the market, that turnaround can happen very quickly, which means that you miss some of the biggest upswings in the market. So realistically, the goal is to build a portfolio that's very well balanced, very diversified, and that can take you through those market cycles and allow you to feel comfortable that you can withstand that volatility while staying in the market.
Yeah, but before you even invest in the market, I think we'll tell you as financial advisors that the first thing you need to do is to get your financial house in order, to make sure that the cash flow, the money that's coming into your house, is more money than what's going out of the house.
That's always a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. Secondarily, and even more important, is making sure that you have an easily accessible emergency fund.
And that has to be at the bank, liquid at the bank.
And how much do you suggest putting into that emergency fund?
We always look at it and say you want about 3 to 6 months living expenses. However, If you have a goal, and let's say you need to buy a new car within a year, or you're buying your first home within a year, that money should not be invested in the market.
The money that you want to put towards that down payment or use to purchase a home or any large purchase for that matter.
That's correct. You want to keep that safe. And right now, we're experiencing some pretty good interest rates out there on cash.
Yeah, I mean, years ago when we said keep the money safe, people would go, well, why would I want to do that?
Yeah.
I don't get any interest on my money. Well, we're in a unique period of time right now.
We
where
are.
interest rates are attractive. I mean, to be able to get 3, 4, 5% on your money,
Right.
and it's sometimes FDIC insured at a bank,
Right.
it's a really attractive option when you know you're going to need the money in the near future.
Exactly. And so, again, you're not giving up return necessarily, or you're not giving up all your return. You're still getting, whether it's 3, 4, 5%, and that money is safe and secure. And you need to keep that in mind. Remember, one of the first things that you want to do before you invest any money is determine what your goals are. What does that money need to do for you?
And goals need to be a bit more specific than what some people say those goals should be. Someone will say, I want to retire at age 65.
Well, that's great.
That's nice, right? Well, tell me what that means. What are some of the questions or things that they might offer answers to when thinking about what retiring at 65 might look like?
Yeah, well, first of all, we need to know how much do you want to spend? I mean, we have clients that spend all over the map, right, Mark?
Right, anywhere from $2,000 a month to $25,000 a month, and sometimes more, and frankly, sometimes less. And each of those people, by the way, we've got several clients who want to spend, say, $4,000 a month, and they couldn't imagine spending any more.
Right.
And then there's others that spend $25,000 a month, and they go, well, could I spend a little bit more? And every person's situation is different.
Right.
One of the earlier podcasts, I think this month, we talked about a story that appeared about what does it mean to be rich.
Yes.
And what rich is whatever you think rich is. Realistically, that's what it is, and whatever meets your ability to do the things you want to do.
Yeah, and a lot of individuals will say, I need to reach a certain target dollar value in my account. And then what happens when they reach that dollar value?
Oh, it's very simple. Okay, I got that. Let's get more. I want to double that. I want to do more. And so I don't know if I ever told the story. I know I told you this story. We had a client when I first started here early on in the late 90s.
Showing your age,
yeah. I know. His goal was to acquire $1 million through his investment portfolio, through saving and through earnings. And I think when he met with us, he had about $600,000.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, and his
well
goal,
on his way.
Right, and his goal was to get to $1 million. As you can well imagine, in the late 90s, it was called the dot-com boom. And many portfolios did extraordinarily well in the late 90s, all driven by this dot-com sensation.
Tech stocks.
And he reached that $1 million mark far quicker than he ever imagined he would. But I told him, I said, look, you wanted to hit that $1 million threshold so you could start to take income from that $1 million and supplement your income from your Social Security and your other resources. And he said, if we can make $1 million that quickly, let's go for 2. and I was like, let's be sure you know what you want to do. And I said, you need this income. He says, well, yeah, if we can grow money as quickly as we did, why don't we take a little bit of money and still try to get to $2 million? And I explained to him, I said, that's going to be very dangerous and highly improbable. Well, 2 things happened in the 3 years that followed. Number 1, we had the dot-com bust.
That was not pretty.
It was not pretty at all. And secondarily, he died. Yeah, he died. So he spent all this time trying to accumulate wealth, and he didn't spend any time enjoying what he had done when his initial goal had been achieved. And so one of the things that I know, Marion, you and I try so hard to do is to keep people on track with their goals.
Exactly. And our financial planning software does a great job of that, because it's very difficult, particularly when you're just starting out on your retirement lifestyle, to determine, well, I think this is going to work. This is how much I want to spend, and you can think about it and say, well, I've got $1 million. I want to spend about $3,500 a month. That seems to be an okay amount to spend. It seems like I can do this. But, tracking along and having a visual representation of what that looks like over time is so helpful to clients, I find. And we can go back and say, so here's where we thought you were going to be. Here's where you're at today. And look at that. I mean, people will come in 10 years down the road within their retirement lifestyle. And what do they typically say to us?
Well,
when they look at that income stream?
They can't believe that they have more money than what they started with, and they were able to pull out this income. Now, that doesn't happen all the time, but more often than not, their goals are exceeded simply because when they look at a financial plan, it isn't simply their investment account. Right. It's the net worth that has grown.
Exactly.
So, you don't value your house every day, and the property has moved up and down, and recently up. There's more money that you might have saved in a bank account. Perhaps you received an inheritance. Perhaps some of the other investments that you hadn't really looked at in a while that you forgot about, or a savings bond portfolio that you might have had in your underwear drawer. All of that stuff gets added up, and you realize your net worth has grown.
Yes. And, it's really rewarding, I think. And we have actually a lot of clients who've been with us for 20, 30 years.
Some 50 plus years.
I know. I mean, it's really rewarding, first of all, to see the people who we start meeting with when maybe they're 55, 60 years old, and they're trying to reach that retirement goal. And to see them reach it and be successful in that retirement is fabulous. But alternatively, the people that come in and say, look at what I still have left, and I've been living off my money for 30 years.
And more often than not, those people need to continue to spend that money or spend it even more.
Right.
Because if they don't, what happens, Marion?
Well, they leave an inheritance to their kids.
And that inheritance is far larger than what they ever imagined they'd be leaving. Because think about this. When perhaps your grandparents left an inheritance to your parents, they might have had some money in the bank. Maybe they had a small investment account, and they had a house that was worth, what, $29,900? How much did they pass along?
Yeah.
Today's houses are, $500,000 to $2 million. And
you
that's
live
an
in New
asset.
England, right?
And that's an asset we don't even think about as passing on to the kids.
Right.
There's 401ks, there's investment accounts. There's a lot of money that gets passed on to the next generation. And we want to be sure that if you want, as a retiree, to maximize your life in retirement, to do more, to explore all the things that you possibly said, I don't know if I can do this. We want to help you understand whether it's possible to do it.
That's right. And I think the one thing we've learned, or one of the things I've learned, I should say, I shouldn't speak for you, but a lot of people really feel strongly about keeping their house. And that might not always be the best option. And you really need to keep an open mind around that, because most of the time, the kids don't want your house.
You know what they really don't want? All the stuff in the house.
They definitely don't want the stuff in the house.
And the house can be sold, but all that crap that is accumulated in your house, as much as it might be sentimental to you, as much as you might hope, well, the kids will carry on this legacy, they don't want it.
My son's already told me he doesn't want one thing in my house. So.
And so you have to, think about what you want in your life. If you like being in your home surrounded by all the things that you've accumulated, great.
Awesome.
That's wonderful. But understand that if you are hoping for the kids to maintain the legacy of all that stuff, probably not likely to happen.
And the other part of that is, if the house is tying you down and not allowing you to spend the way you want because so much of your money is tied up in the house or goes towards home repairs or goes towards something like that, you really should reconsider whether that house is the best place for you to be.
Yeah, the stairs might not be the best thing for you.
Exactly.
Forward, right?
Exactly.
And there's all sorts of communities that allow for you to live life a lot easier.
And we see a lot more of those coming up now as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if now's the time for you to get serious about your financial planning or investment management needs, or perhaps you'd even like to receive our free weekly newsletter. It lands in your inbox every Friday at 10:30. All you need to do is go to our website, freedmanfinancial.com. That's Freedman.
2 E's and a D.
Financial.com. Go to the bottom of any page, put in your name, your email address, and you will get our newsletter. If you'd like to reach out to us, give us a call. 978-531-8108. That's 978-531-8108. That's going to do it for us this week. I'm thinking to myself, I may not be here next week.
Oh, no, you will.
I will be here
You
next
will.
week,
Yeah,
but the week
the week
thereafter,
after.
probably not.
Yeah, you're going on another adventure,
Yeah, I'm
right?
taking my boys on a vacation. They didn't get their high school graduation trips in 20 and 21 due to COVID, so we're going to take a nice trip overseas and show them the world a little bit.
Sounds like fun.
We'll see you next week. Have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
During today's Dollars and Cents episode with Freedman Financial, your hosts may have discussed specific financial planning and investment ideas that are for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations. Please remember that investing involves risk and may include loss of principal. Although the money market fund seeks to preserve the value of your investment at $1 per share, it is possible to lose money by investing in the fund. Always consult a certified financial planner professional, qualified attorney, or tax advisor prior to investing to determine what is appropriate for you. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.